Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters. After leaving the business 1 year earlier, battle scarred stuntman Colt Severs springs back into action when the star of a big studio movie suddenly disappears. As the mystery surrounding the missing actor deepens, Colt soon finds himself ensnared in a sinister plot more dangerous than any stunt. Yes, folks, this is my raw reaction review of The Fall Guy. Hey guys, it's time to engage your core, drink a spicy margarita, and make a very good decision because we're talking the action romantic comedy, The Fall Guy. The film is directed by David Leitch, which his previous directorial works include Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and most recently Bullet Train. And I gotta say, if you're a fan of Bullet Train, I think you'd be running to the theater to get a ticket for The Fall Guy because this will be right up your alley. Now, Leach is a former stunt coordinator and stuntman himself, so of course there's going to be a lot of big actiony set pieces in this film, and they're a lot of fun, I gotta say. I think mostly I enjoyed the more intimate hand-to-hand combat style version of it. There are some really intriguing scenes between Ryan Gosling's character and also Winston Duke in an apartment taking on some bad guys that I found a lot of fun. They really do mix a lot of the action and comedy in that scene really well. But when it comes to some of the bigger action set pieces, while they're visually intriguing for me, I think sometimes they did run a little bit too long. As I was actively watching some of the action scenes, I thought maybe this could be trimmed down a little bit. Now, it doesn't really take you out of the film at all. It just seems like it goes on a little bit longer than it should. But, it's so fast paced that it doesn't really hurt the scene that much. Now, sometimes there are some questionable CGI decisions. There's a scene with Ryan Gosling in heavy traffic on a bridge that did look a little questionable to me. It kind of stuck with me. But overall, I don't think it was too bad. It doesn't really take you out of the film. And of course, Leach having that former stuntman, stunt coordinator background, we know he's going to want to live in these scenes a little bit longer than probably a lot of directors, so I can't really fault him too much for it. It's no secret that the cast of this film is just downright amazing. There's so much great talent attached to this to make this such a fun film. Ryan Gosling plays our stuntman, Colt. He's hired onto this big budgeted sci-fi flick that's directed by Emily Blunt as Jody. And then, of course, we have Aaron Taylor Johnson as huge action star Tom Ryder, who Colt Ryan Gosling is his stunt man. And overall, these characters just, there's so much great chemistry here. They really gel well in all the scenes that they're in. I already mentioned Winston Duke as well. Just a lot of great camaraderie that is really portrayed on screen. Ryan Gosling, I mean, great comedic timing. It's so subtle. It's never over exaggerated. He just has that perfect timing and the charm. I mean, it's hard to not want to root for him. And I mean, Colt, the character at times makes you a little hard to root for him, but Ryan Gosling wins you over with that charm, makes you really get behind him and want to see him succeed. Emily Blunt, just great actress in general. She really holds her own, especially in those scenes with Ryan Gosling. You really do feel that chemistry. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think a lot of people will enjoy his role here. He's just a huge asshole. It's so much fun to watch him and Ryan Gosling interact from the very beginning. There's a really fun scene here at the beginning, kind of really sets the tone, the dynamics, really kind of gives you that Hollywood feel, which the meta awareness in this film, when we're kind of going into the Hollywood setting and how things work, is really evident here. Makes it a lot of fun and really amplifies those comedic elements. While there is a lot of great action here, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of great chemistry between the cast, I gotta say, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt are the all-stars here in terms of chemistry. Their on-screen relationship really does prevent this film from just feeling like another big budgeted actiony flick. The relationship that they do have in the backstory that is attached to these characters really opens up that space for some comedic elements and bits that the audience can actually enjoy. There's this one reoccurring bit while they're on set with Ryan Gosling's character Colt being set on fire, and Emily Blunt wanting to continuously do takes as they kind of speak about the state of their relationship, which is a lot of fun. The audience that I did see this with had a few chuckles, and it does go on a little bit longer than it should, but I think that's really that comedic timing. And Emily Blunt plays it off so well, so does Ryan Gosling. And even some of the big actiony scenes, they do splice in that comedy in an organic way that can make you chuckle while you're enjoying the big action set pieces as well. There's a great team up between Ryan Gosling and a dog that I gotta say is probably going to be talked about as one of the best on-screen duos of 2024. It opens up for a lot of great comedic elements. It is reoccurring, and there's just a lot of intrigue there. I gotta say that one does deliver a lot of laugh out loud moments. Getting into a critique of the film is the stakes are introduced, but it never feels like the gravity of the situation is ever heightened to the level the creatives wanted it to be. The situation Gosling finds himself in is somewhat comical when it's all laid out, but we do forget that death is a very real thing in this instance. I think that element kind of gets muddled in the meta awareness and comedic elements and makes the audience kind of forget that the characters could actually die in the situations they find themselves in. While the overall situation is funny and clever when you get all the information, I think translating those stakes and its seriousness can get lost to the audience because of the comedy. And then sometimes we do forget that, yes, while we are laughing and having a good time during these action sequences, the death could be a really real thing here. And of course, we always get into that runtime situation here. And while the film is fairly fast paced for the most part, especially when we get into the deeper story and those action scenes start to pick up, the film is on the heavier side when it comes to runtime. The film's just over 2 hours, which can be felt in some of the scenes, like I mentioned. Some of them go on for a little bit longer than I think they should. And I got to be honest, as we neared the end of the film, I got to say, I really did start to feel that runtime and actively thinking, I think this maybe should be over by now. That was probably with about 20 minutes left, and we did have another big action sequence that kind of gives us a little bit more closure. But, we kind of get into this weird dynamic here where this is kind of meta and they are talking about third acts and things like that. And we do almost get some sort of closure, but then that opens us back up for another 25 minutes or so. So I did feel that runtime as we neared the end of it. I was kind of waiting for this thing to be over, but I got to be honest, Leach, that last big action sequence that we do get does make it worth it for you to sit down and watch a little bit extra of the film, because a lot of these action sequences are just so well done. So while it does have a longer runtime than usual, or that I would like to see personally, I got to be honest, he does make it worth it by the end. Overall, even with those couple critiques there, I did have a lot of fun. And if you're looking for a big, fun, digestible popcorn flick that's going to kick off those summer vibes, I think The Fall Guy is an easy recommend. With a great cast, some huge action sequences, and a lot of great comedy sprinkled on top, this one's definitely going to entertain you. So I think this one is a definitely check out at the theater if you can. And I think even rewatch this one at home. I think it's going to be even more fun when you can kind of pause and watch at your leisure and just kind of go back and rewatch those action sequences at your leisure. So I think this one's going to be a lot of fun for audiences to check out. Definite recommend for me. So if you want to kick off the summer right, head out and check out The Fall Guy. That's going to wrap it up here for me, guys. We have a lot of great stuff on the channel. If you just stumbled upon this review and are not subscribed, definitely check out the channel, see what we got going on. We just dropped some Terrifier 3 news with that update on the actual release date heading to October 11th. We cannot wait for that. Plus a lot of other great reviews on the channel, and of course, a lot more coming your way. So stick right here with us, and until next time, I'm Luke Janesco, and stay scared.
Do the horse shit, gonna do it live. Cause Splattercast kick it every day they live. Splattercast, gonna smash your ass. 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 Splattercast, gonna smash your ass.